Good morning, everyone. Erica with Aurora Heart Healing. Today, I have a collective healing for you. Just adjusting a little bit. I hope you don't mind. But if you do, that's okay. All right. So, we're going to start off with Saints and Angels Oracle cards. And this is by, oh, that was a lot, Doreen Virtue. And as always, I don't really know what we're going to be working through today, but it's interesting. I'm not sure exactly what the message is going to be until I get some more clarity from our angels and guides. But for now, I'm going to start off with what I am seeing so far. Practice makes perfect. Practice makes perfect. I think so many of us get down on ourselves and then we quit, we retreat. It's interesting because this podcast I was listening to earlier today talks about how so many people avoid being in relationships because they say they're not good in relationships. And then they're like, I'm working on myself, I'm trying to be better. And then they find themselves in a relationship. And then again, they do the same patterning, the same things because they've been practicing outside of the experience. But when the real work comes inside the experience. And that is something that's really difficult for a lot of people to grasp. So many people say, oh, I'll do it when I'm better at this. I'll build and grow when I XYZ. But the real practice, the real keeping at it is what creates the perfection. In my sessions, my one-to-one sessions, I've always found it somewhat difficult for me to make everything exactly the way I want it. I've had to change and shift and evolve. Even my session reviews have changed a little bit more since building my business and continuing my practice. And as I continue my practice, I feel like it changes into places that I really like, I really enjoy. And as I continue to practice, I feel different about it. My emotional state of being, I feel better. I do better. I feel more accomplished each time I have hit a barrier or a wall. That encouragement that I've found from other people or within myself have really made me feel more balanced. And right here in the emotions card, she's holding, it looks like a lamp, a lantern, but to me, it really looks like a balancing scale because we can tip ourselves to the more negative side of, oh, I just can't do this. And when we practice, you're not going to get it always perfectly right the first time. Sometimes it's going to take a few tries to really hone in on what it is that you're trying to bring into your life. And that is important for us to remember. It's funny because so many of us are like animals. Animals are very instinctual. They are very kind and loving and sweet. And with my puppy, her name is Sadie. And sometimes I find her very annoying and difficult. But she'll still come up to me and rejection, that emotion of rejection, she doesn't actually like really absorb it as, oh, I am this. If anything, she just kind of sees it as, maybe not right now. And she'll try again like 4 minutes later, not even a whole five. And she'll come up and be like, all right, mom, you ready now? And it's interesting because she doesn't hold on to her emotions like we do as human beings. She doesn't sit there and say, oh, well, they're going to always reject me. They're going to always not love me or support me. she just continues to do her thing. But as humans, we practice something, and then after like two times, if we're not doing it right, then we're done. Um, I'm going to bring this out. It's a painting that I did at Bliss Holistic Center, if you can see that. And this painting, it started out as like a blob. Like I didn't know exactly what I wanted it to become. I just kept layering it and texturing it and changing the colors and adding and omitting, subtracting, putting glitter pieces in it. And I just kept at it. And at one point, I remember looking over and just laughing and being like, I don't even know what I'm doing right now. I'm just doing it. And then one of the women, she said, it's your practice. You're practicing it. Just keep doing it no matter what. It's great because you're doing it. And when I was done with this, I remember like putting these textured little spaces in it and feeling so satisfied with it afterwards, like letting it dry, coming back to it, letting it sit for a minute, coming back to it, changing the colors around, coming back to it, leaving, coming back. But the whole entire point was that I continued to practice on it. And now some can say it's plain, some can say, it's missing something, but I felt that it was exactly the way it needed to be. I felt that there was depth and dimension and color and my uniqueness within it. We as animals will be like, oh, someone said something negative about this, I'll never do it again. We really do need to tap into our animal self a little bit more. The one that isn't scared to howl, the one that isn't scared to yip or laugh. Because as we continue to work through things, this practice makes everything else perfect because we're just continuing to do it without being deterred by our emotional state of being deterred and saying, I feel rotten right now. There was a couple times during this whole process that I did feel like, oh man, like there was one woman that was painting this gorgeous little bouquet of flowers. There was another one that was painting this skyy scenery. And all I could think was like, oh man, like they're doing a really good job. And as I continued to watch my work progress and morph and evolve, I felt better about it because I didn't let my emotional state of being stop me there. The next one is sweetness, which is interesting because when we practice, when we see the end result of things, you can come to a sweetness, a bravery. Brave is the next emotion or card. Pulling out, be brave. And the sweetness came for, it was like, wow, I didn't know where I was going with this art. I didn't know what was going to come of it. But I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the process. I enjoyed the ability to connect with others in community. I enjoyed the way that some of those little droplets of paint didn't land exactly where I wanted to, but I was able to work through it. I felt a sweetness through the practice of just doing it, just sitting and laughing and painting with other women that were just doing the best they could too. It takes bravery to not let our emotions get the best of us. It takes bravery to be sturdy like an animal and just say, I'm just going to be who I am. If you accept me, awesome. If you don't, then awesome too. It doesn't make any difference for me because it's me. I'm me. And I'm just going to continue to practice. I'm going to continue to allow for my sweetness to come through, I'm going to continue to be brave. Because every day that we spend on this planet, that we do speak our truth, that we do lead, we are brave. We are unlocking a different part of ourselves. We are building and growing. We are growing these beautiful parts of ourselves, and we wouldn't be able to without practice. Speaking your truth is so divinely important because so many people retreat. It was interesting because I usually don't read upside down cards. I don't feel called to it, but there is some times where I feel that I need to. And today, retreat was upside down. I liken this to avoidance. I liken this to, I see all of these things that could be, but that takes an internal look that I'm not willing to do. And then we retreat, the path of least resistance, the path of, well, I'm going to give up. Sometimes the path of least resistance actually creates the most resistance later on. So I think of this as working out. The path of least resistance for me was not going to the gym. It's easier that way. It's easier to just sit around on the couch. Sometimes it's easier for me to not resolve a conflict. Sometimes it's easier for me to avoid. But what does that cause later on? Does it actually make my life and the life of other people around me better? Not really. And if I don't practice resolving conflict or repairing after conflict, then what am I left with? Running away. This again was in the reverse, travel. But I don't see it as travel. For this one, it's like there's someone that's being hurt in the background. It's a pretty sad scene, actually. In this one, it's called safe travel, but I'm seeing people running away, people avoiding again. They came out right together. People avoiding conflict, people running from it. What if this person had the key to change the scene behind them? Someone is being in this picture. What if that person had the key, but they ran away? They retreated, they avoided, they left. They just decided, you know what, this isn't, I'm not brave enough to face these things. I'm not going to speak my truth. I'm going to let my emotions override me. And I haven't had enough practice, so I can't do this. Okay, next, Spirit Cards, Oracle deck by this guy, John Mosley. Is there anything else, Spirit, that you want us to talk about here? hmm. The first card is Shamanista. I love this card. It's about illumination, guidance, and transformation. How can we change the world around us if we don't practice this actively? seek guidance actively, illumination, expansion, transformation. When we practice repairing conflict, when we practice communication, when we practice emotional regulation, when we practice not taking things personal, when we practice leaning into our bravery, when we practice being compassionate with ourselves and unlocking that sweetness, when we practice speaking our truth, we actually bring in this beautiful transformation. We find illumination, we find guidance, and we find transformation in who we are and the world around us. The next one is frog spirit, cleansing, transition, and change. Every time that we do something that is maybe the path of least resistance, we are resisting our own transformation. We are resisting a more evolved version of ourselves. We are resisting some change that might be so necessary for us to become divinely united. Not just with a person, not just romantically, but on a larger scale, in a bigger picture, in the biggest sense that we possibly could say. When we cleanse and clear and change and practice that steadily, consistently, we alchemize, we create unity and intimacy. We're vulnerable. And vulnerability is actually one of the strongest and bravest things that we can do. It is brave. Do you know why? Have you ever asked yourself why being vulnerable is brave? It's worth questioning. It's worth asking yourself that. But as we unite ourselves, we build a better society. The elephant. We build empathy and altruism and community. We build a world that is worth living in. As we practice these things of transformation, emotional regulation, bravery, speaking our truth, we land on community, connection, true connection. Because you see these people, their darknesses are present as well as their light. They are meeting each other in the middle. They're meeting each other. They're matching each other's energy. When you are looking for that beauty, that safety, that love, not just romantic, but love and connection, what we were born to have. We were born to be united. Practicing regulation, practicing our emotional intelligence and bravery is what is going to help us evolve, creating a better world for not just ourselves, but for everyone else around us too. A lot of people that are listening to this right now have been hurt. And the last deck of emotion or deck of cards that I got was Talking to Heaven. And Talking to Heaven is mediumship cards. So I'm really taking this as our spirit is asking or giving us some guidance. And this one is, although you may not understand it now, everything happens for a reason. It's interesting because the last year was the hardest year of my life, hands down. And yesterday and this morning, I was driving my car back from coaching practice, and I just felt so free and alleviated because I've been doing all of this work on myself, really meeting myself, really bringing in intimacy and vulnerability for me, not for anyone else, for me. And I realized something yesterday, that all of the events that happened in the last year have taught me how to truly love myself in a deeper capacity, how to appreciate and value what I have. It's even brought me and my mom together. And that was hard for me. Sometimes we wonder why people leave the way that they did. And it's because they are your soulmates. They agreed to teach you lessons. And even though it hurts, even though it's hard, and even though you don't understand, it helped you believe in yourself and helped you learn that you can do it. You can do it. You have all of this support all around you, but you can still do it. Even when we feel alone, know that we are always surrounded by our guides. They are standing right next to you. They're holding you and loving you and caring for you. Don't leave this world without practicing, without challenging yourself, without trying, because if I had only known then what I know now, I would have lived differently. Don't be that person that leaves this earth wondering, what if? What if I would have resolved this? What if I would have chosen something different? What if? The what ifs are only because you didn't sit with yourself enough to make that decision anyway. Don't live with regrets. Regrets really truly come from us practicing and then giving up and saying, oh, this is too hard. I'm done. Path of least resistance. I'm out. I can't. What would you do if you were gone today? What would you regret doing? What would you take with you? What would you say? What could you say about your life? What would other people say about your life? This is something I've thought about a lot. What would someone say if I was gone? And for me, practicing speaking my truth, sitting here in front of you all, maybe one person watches this video, maybe 10,000 do. No matter what, I'm still out here speaking my truth. And I'm never going to wonder what if, because I'm living my bravery now. Sitting in front of this is hard. It's not easy. Sometimes I sit here and I breathe through over and over and over again. I practice. And then sometimes I feel so down, like, it's just not coming through. I don't know how to articulate this, or I'm not sure if people are even going to want to hear this. But yet, I regulate myself emotionally, and I find a way to speak my truth. And sometimes I'll practice over and over and over again the beginning of these videos just to be able to speak to you today. And more, I'm doing less and less of that because now I feel much more confident in relaying the messages. And that wouldn't have happened without being through the transformations, through cleansing, clearing, changing, truly building community and divine union within myself. If they don't see my value, that's okay because I do. If they don't understand where I'm coming from, that I'm not trying to hurt or harm anybody, I'm just trying to make things better for the world as a whole, then that's okay. That's not up to me. There are people that have left my life that have made me question things inside of me. But I also know that every person that has left has made my life better too. Through all the pain, I believe in myself. I can do it. I know I can. You can too. You are brave. Maybe your emotional state of being doesn't tell you that, but that's why this card came out. For you to start to regulate, to balance, to clear out all of that energy that is preventing you from living your best life, living in divine union, divine community. Because when you're running away from everything and you're avoiding, you're just leaving. And then you wonder, if I only would have known then what I know now, I would have lived differently. Don't live with that regret, my friends. You deserve it all. I didn't pull this card, but it was at the top of the deck. Emerge. Today, I hope that you cleanse and clear things that help you emerge, that help you rise, that help you expand. And yeah, it might be a path that is more resistant, but through that resistance, look at her freedom. Look at her bravery. She's completely vulnerable, but she's free. And I hope that this helps you emerge too. I love you all. I hope this helps. Have a beautiful and wonderful day.